Welcome back, everybody, to Grand Tactician, the Civil War. I'm Grumpy Grandpa Gaming, and this is episode 39 of our Confederate Summer 61 campaign playthrough in version 1.10 using the A.O.M mod. Now, in the last episode, we did see a battle out here in Quincy, and an action down in the Gulf. So, things along the line seem to have calmed down a little bit, and I'm hoping to have December and January stay fairly quiet for us. I highly doubt that. So AI always has different plans. But that is my hope. So right now, my forces in Missouri are not going to move any further. I want them wintering. So in order to prepare to move them into Kentucky, I'll discuss that here in a little bit. But up here in the northwestern Dakota's Corte Rio Grande is still stuck in place. Their readiness is coming up, but ever so slowly. I'm hoping to get them up to yellow. I'm hoping this core does not move on them before they get into the yellow, and I can get them moved out of the way a little more. So I'm kind of happy the way this is right here, since he's keeping this core, which isn't very strong. It's they're down to 4,700. This was at 6,000. Or I'm just getting better intelligence on them now. It's just keeping this core locked in place for the most part. So I'm happy to leave that status quo the way it is. That's just 4,700 men they are not using elsewhere. So over here in Missouri, we did do some restructuring. Price no longer has any core under his command until his readiness comes back up. So my plan going forward, starting in March, and I'm hoping things stay quiet until then, possibly February, if it does not, is to move the Army of Tennessee plus the Corps of the Missouri down into Kentucky using a river strike. So I want to move them down river without any land movement whatsoever, hopefully, and drop Corps of Missouri in Cairo, Corps of Western Tennessee in Louisville, and the Corps of Eastern Tennessee into Covington, so that we can flip the three capturable cities in Kentucky and bring it into our aegis. That is my hope. I will be leaving the Corps of the Arkansas in the Missouri theater under Price's command once his readiness comes back up to keep this area covered. I should not need more than one corps in the area, hopefully. Moving my forces into Kentucky should draw off all the Union forces in the area. Out here in the east, things have stayed a little bit quieter here, thankfully. This will allow readiness to come back up once again for Corps of Shenandoah and Lee's Army headquarters. Not exactly sure what is going on out here in Western Virginia, because they could have flipped this over already. So I don't know why the AI is not taking Wheeling, but they could have created West Virginia at this point, and they have not. And over here in Ohio, we're still trying to extract ourselves. So, Corps of Kanawha is at orange readiness. I need them back into the yellow so I can begin moving them again. And I want to get these guys into at least Parkersburg. And I want to get the Corps of Monongahela down here to Point Pleasant. Because these two corps separately should be able to handle each of these corps separately. Yeah, that's 5,000 men there. And 20,000 there. We can easily handle those two corps if we catch them separately. Over here, Bragg's force at the Corps of Florida is still moving towards Raleigh. It's now winter. They're moving through the mountains. It's going to take them a while. Actually, I'm going to have them stop at Greensboro. And down here in the Gulf, we did have that successful raid. And took down one more ship. I believe the Pensacola it was. I think that covers every front so far, but I'm going to stick here for a few more seconds. Went through some of his provisions, but Raider Squadron is still green, full of ammunition, so we're going to send him out on another raid while we're down here and see what happens. Hopefully we catch one or two more of these ships. Because right now the only thing they have blockaded anymore is Mobile and Biloxi. And Unionists proclaimed illegal blockade. And they didn't fight. Alright. They run off from the fight. Yeah, they ran off again. I'll take you off raid. Wait till these fall green again. We'll send them back out. Another bond issue at 4.12%, which is really good. What else is there? Price is low on supply. Don't care about that. Alright. So, that should cover everything. Hopefully I won't be seeing you all again until the January monthlies. But, you know, the AI is, they like to do their own thing. Alright, everybody. We have actually made it into January. It's now January 2nd, 1863. So it's time to go over to monthlies. Before that, though, everything has stayed quiet, and it looks like the federal AI might be wintering also, for I think the first time I've ever seen it. Because I have no movement pads I've seen lately, but a lot of my intelligence is getting old for these units. I'm looking at October and November here. Okay, we just spotted 1st and 2nd Army up here. That's only a month. That's a month old also. Most of my intelligence is very old at this point, but it looks like they might be sitting steady. So once again, let's set these monthlies up. Alright, current rating is A-. And our debt runs at 165 million. Current economy cycle is contraction. Wealth of our population is mediocre and increasing compared to the previous month. Our tax revenues increased by 234 million. One hospital was built. I did build one hospital in Missouri. Should have built one there a long time ago, but things were so fluid that there was really no good spot to build one, so I did build one. Where did I put you? It's still being constructed. I don't know why it said it was built. But I did put one here outside of Bloomington, Missouri. Total export volume last month was 1.6 out with 2.3 coming in, so that's changed quite a bit. Average core production over the last 3 months was 234 million, a change of plus 4.9. And we are still lacking all the same things. Come up here. That's supplies. Economy. Cotton production still at 0. Crop production still at 0. I'm not sure if that is because we moved into the winter months or because of the bugs in the save file. It might be because of the winter months, but it might be also because of the bugs in the save file, because I don't remember production stopping over the winter in other playthroughs. Somebody let me know in the comments below if I'm right or wrong on that one, but I don't think I've ever seen it stop over the winter, because there are winter crops. Iron ore production is 85.9 versus demand of 92, which isn't bad. A lot of production has always been down. Rice production is at 4,000 versus demand of 11. I got to build more rice plantations. Tobacco is at 0. Artillery ammunition production is at 14.9 versus demand of 17, so that's getting better. Since we didn't fight, our stocks are going to start shifting a little bit better, so our men will be a little bit better supplied. So after the next battle, these numbers will change again. But until then, we are going to have production versus demand equal out for the most part. And machine parts is still down. Lead production. I didn't even know we had a lead production issue. That's new. Flour production is still down. Don't know why. And wool production, that's the first time I've seen this one. That's not too far off, so that's not a big issue. We're in intelligence. They're now working on government funding 1, and they have completed artillery reform and constructed another 5 ships. Doesn't show them recruiting any more soldiers, though, thankfully. Intelligence indicates enemies consolidating and regrouping, so they are wintering like we are. So it's going to be our strategy. Their national morale is down to 68 to our 91. National support is at 90 to our 76. Morale of their armies is at 78 to our 83. And they are just replacing their losses as soon as we hit them. So they're back over 200,000. They're at 217,000 now. We had them. I once again had them under 200,000, and they just keep replacing them. It's just an unending machine. And total casualties are 54,372 to our 29,403. Once again, this should be at about 40 to 60 per side, and that's the actual number that you would see. I think it's more like 60 to their side and 40 to our side. So we're keeping it in the 2-to-1 range the entire campaign. All right, policies. Still working on military too. That's got another 25, so we'll say another month to go. Projects, what we got available here? Administration reform, civil order, infrastructure reform. That is something I do want, so we'll take that. Railroad construction, yes, because I want to build the railroads. I want to finish that last railroad down in Florida connecting Savannah, Tallahassee, and Biloxi, I think. But it'll connect Mississippi through Florida up into Georgia, and the entire coast will be connected, and I'll have to start working on the interior lines. And I'm not going to use the farm subsidies because I want to build another mill somewhere, so I got to hold off on that. Over here, what we got? I'm not planning on building anything else weapons-wise. We are capturing enough from the Federals. So I think we'll take a level of training manuals. There we go. Because I'm not planning on building anything else at all. And taking the artillery and cavalry reforms won't help me at this point, as I just don't have the troops to fill those units up. Come over here. Military, open up. My drafts are quickly disappearing. That's down to 14,700. I do have 27,000 volunteers, so I want to start turning the volunteer draft pool back on my armies, which I'll probably do right after this. So we are hurting for soldiers. We are quickly running out. There's just nothing I can do about it right now. Except hope that it stays quiet long enough for me to complete Military 2 and then run through the 2 draft acts. Other than that, we will be out of men. And that's probably what will be the death knell of this campaign, is being out of soldiers. Which is why I do want to seize Kentucky as quickly as possible with the Army of Tennessee. So hopefully we can do that. I'm hoping a fast strike down the river, because they have no fortifications out here, will get us into the 2 major IPs that we need in Kentucky, which is Covington and Louisville. And I also want to take Cairo, because it does control some Kentucky IPs. Alright, now before we do anything else, let's see if we can run another raid down here, since Raider Squadron's back full green. They got provisions. Let's see if we can't catch one of these fleets again, because this is getting a little annoying where these guys are not fighting. They're there, but they are refusing to fight us, and I don't want to send these ships out into a general engagement, because I'll probably lose that. And they ran. That is getting annoying. You know, let's leave them on raid and try that one more time. So I should be able to catch 1 or 2 of these ships out of all these ships they got here. Santa fighting for the Union. That's always a good. I like those Santa photos from the pictures from the Civil War. They're always really good. I remember going out to Gettysburg one year, and there was actually a guy dressed up like the Harper's Ferry Santa. That was pretty awesome looking. And once again, come on, let's try this again. You got to catch them. They got 14 ships in the area. I don't want to do a general engagement down here. Oh. There we go. What do we got? This is why they're not fighting. Colorado's at 40, Richmond's at 39, and the release is at 69. They don't want to fight because their ships can't. This is good for us. The release is out of range. Darn it. Hopefully we can capture Richmond or the Colorado. Wait, did this fight end? Oh, it ended. I didn't see that. It pulled off. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. That was just annoying. Alright. Once again, unto the breach. Their ships are incapable of fighting. That's the thing. Their ships are not able to fight right now, so I don't know why they're still sitting there. But they gave us our 9 consecutive naval battle wins. Alright, one more time. Ooh, here we go. Looks like we got a good one brewing. There we go. Caught the Key Squadron also. Alright, we got the Amanda. And it looks like the fight's already over. The Gulf Blockading Squadron keeps running. Where are you going now? Are you kidding me? Going all the way out to Sabine Pass? Well, they got their prize. Now they're running. That looks like it's frozen. Alright. We got one more fourth-rate ship out of that. Now it's showing us as having a loss, even though I don't know what the hell's going on there. What is going on? Raider Squadron's at 6 ships now, so we captured it. Okay, that was a little weird. So, we captured 3 ships in that. We got the Alonzo Child, the Althea, and the Amanda. So those will be going out to Lincoln's Gift, which are now blockading the all the IPs out in the Atlantic. No, that's better. Go back to Apalachicola. So Lincoln's Gifts are out here blockading all of this. How much of an effect they're having, I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to tell that or not. Not blocked. Not blocked. So it's showing as not blocked, so we're not affecting the trade IPs at all. I thought you could affect these by running a blockade on them. Yeah, that's upsetting. That is upsetting. Alright, pause this here, and hopefully I'll be back with the February monthlies. Alrighty, it's January 15th. I did manage to get another raid popped off, and we're going against Key Squadron. I think it's the last 3 ships that they do have. And it's all 4th rates. So hopefully we can take these down fairly handily and add them to the Gift Squadron or sink them. This fight shouldn't take too long. Because once my irons close in the range, these 4th rates are done. Speed this along a little bit. There we go. Sink 2. Can we capture the Buckthorn? And we captured the Buckthorn. Alright, he's now down to yellow. Take him off a raid. Oh, still have ships left. Down to 2. Second, they added more ships to the second Gulf blockading squadron. They're back up to 64 guns because they were down to 15. I was hoping to get the Raider Squadron back in here to do a general engagement against the two fleets, because combined they just had, I think, 10 more guns than I did, but none of their ships are ironclad, so I was really hoping to get in there and finish them both off. But now back up to 64 guns. I don't want to get into a protracted engagement, so I'm happy with that. We'll let them go back in green, and we'll try and do another raid again. Adding more ships to the fleet without even having to build them. Gotta love it. Alright. Once again, hopefully I'll be back with the November monthly. November. February monthly. Excuse me. Alright, we have actually made it through into February. So, once again, time to go over to monthlies. So, it's turning into a bit boring episode, but this is breathing space that we did need. So continuing on, current rating of our nation is A-. That increased by another 25 million. Current economy cycle is contraction, and our revenues dropped by 7 million. It's not too bad. Total export volume last month was 1.7 out, with 2.4 coming in, so that increased by 100 million out, negative 200 million coming in. Average core production over the last 3 months was 215 million, change of negative 19. And our economy still lacks all the same things once again. Though this list has gotten smaller. The ammunition shortages are gone because we have not fought any battles, so production right now is meeting demand and hopefully stockpiling. And hopefully that continues on into March. This way we'll have plenty of ammunition for the spring offensive into Kentucky. So cotton crops are still at 0, tobacco still at 0. Hopefully that all changes starting in March. We'll see. March and April, hopefully. Other than that, nothing has really changed on anything else. I'm hoping improving the IPs will have an effect on that. Alright, the Federals are discussing the Tariff Act. They recruited another 3,700 men to 2 brigades. They haven't done that in a few months. And only 1 new ship. Wow, I am amazed. And their army morale is still sitting at 78%, which is good for us. Come over here to strategy. They've increased their field manpower up to 219 from 217. That's going to increase a little bit more to those other 2 brigades once they are fielded. So morale is still sitting at 70-93, support's at 90-76. And casualty numbers haven't changed because we have not fought any land battles. Naval engagements don't count on those numbers. Military, let's see if we have any change in our... I changed all my armies over to volunteer and draft to suck up, so yeah, we're down to 12,493 drafts. We're up to 33,000 volunteers, so our volunteers numbers increased a little bit, but not by much. But you can't really draw too many soldiers from anywhere outside of Georgia. Indian Territory's got another 4,000. I might be able to create a couple of brigades out of there, but I'm not looking to create any more brigades. I think maybe 1 more division for the Corps of Arkansans, since they don't have 4 infantry divisions. But I may not do that. I don't know. That's up in the air decision yet. So I might, after seeing how, like, I've never really fight my divisions with an attached artillery battery to any of them, but after seeing how effective it has been with the British Exiles division, that battery being attached to them has been very effective. I'm thinking about changing that policy on my part and starting to attach at least 1 battery per division. I'm going to let that one stew in my mind a little bit longer. Actually, let me know in the comments below what you all think of that idea. Is it something that most of you guys do, or is it something like I don't really do it. I only have the 1 division with it because that was a requested unit. But if that's something that you guys normally do and you find it effective, let me know in the comments below. Because I'm kind of up in the air on whether I want to do it or not. And before we shut this down and pause again, Raider Squadron's ready to go. So let's see if we can capture us a few more ships here. Come on, give me a general engagement. So back up to 64 guns in the one fleet. So they got some big boats in there. I want one of them. Polish Rebellion. Yep, looks like we got us a fight. What do we got here? There we go. Those are the types of ships I want to see. The Santee to Richmond and the Release. Richmond's out of range already. Maybe we can get the Santee or the Release. And Colonel Grayson's recovered from his wounds. Awesome. Release is down to 57. The Release ran away from us last time. Hopefully we can get her this time. Still over 200 yards apart, so no ramming yet. 192 yards. There we go. Release has been captured. And that's it for that fight. I guess the other two. It's not showing whether they withdrew or got away, but alright. Let me get some more rest. Enjoy that prize ship. They're now at 71 guns. Even after capturing that ship. It's a lot. Alright, we'll figure that one out. I'll be back. Alright, so it's February 15th in game. And I ran a few more raids against the Gulf Blockading Squadron, the Florida Keys Squadron. They keep retreating out. So I don't think these fleets are in any condition to actually fight. So I'm going to do something that's probably pretty stupid here. And I'm sending in the Raider Squadron to see if we can't deliver a finishing blow. So all three of the ships are at, two of them are at 100%, one's at 99%, which is much better rating than any of their ships. So I want to see if we can't just finish this. It has been way too long. We're now moving into the third year of trying to clear the Gulf. Almost a full year just trying to take down these two fleets. There we go. General engagement. What do we got here? Caught 5 of their ships. The St. Louis, the Santee, the Colorado. Richmond's out of range again. And the Marion. And she also has low ammunition, so she doesn't want to get into the fight. Officer rehabilitated. Who is that? Breckenridge. Alright. I never took him out of command, so it don't matter. Yards, we are right on top of them. Colorado's low on ammo. Doesn't look like we're having too much effect on these ships, really, though. My 3 rams aren't ramming, and they're in ramming range. Bonsecore's low on ammo. So is Berwick. He's retreating. Score base pulled out. Virginia's still in. Doesn't look like we've actually done any damage to these ships. That is not good. Now we're taking more damage than we're doing to them. Alright. That fleet just pulled out. Everybody's low on ammunition, ourselves and them included. And the fight's still going on. I guess they're still withdrawing from each other. Hey, my avatar is back. Welcome back, Grumpy Gruntpaw. Find you command somewhere. Can't believe this fight's still going on. Shows everybody's being out of range. This fight's over. It looks like we did no damage to their fleet whatsoever, which is a little disconcerting. Crap. Looks like everything's frozen. That's not good. That's not good. But my other two ironclads in another 160 days or so. I'll let that ride. We'll see what happens down there. Alright, I will be back. Alright, it is now March 1st. And Federals weren't exactly quiet this entire time, but it's now time for me to start enacting my plans also. But before we do all that, we'll head through the monthlies real fast. So, current rating is still at A-, our debt's now at $215 million. Tax revenues increased by $213 million, which is good. We exported 1.8 and brought in 2.5 last month. And average corporate production over the last 3 months is 209 million, change at plus almost 5 million. And cotton and crops are still at 0. They weren't on there on the last report, but they're on there on this one. Same with tobacco. I don't know why it shows us needing small arms ammunition. We shouldn't need any right now. We've had several months of no fighting. It is what it is. So, intelligence-wise, they are now working on the Confiscation Act. That'll help us a bit, actually. I've recruited one more brigade of 1,900 men and 2 new ships. And our other armies is at 76%, so that dropped another 2%, which is good for us. We have a strategy. Their national morale is at 71, so that went up by a point. Ours is at 92, so that went up by 2 points. National support is at 89, so that went down a point because that was at 90. They now have 220,000 men in the field to our 186. And casualties hasn't changed because we haven't fought anything. Come over to finances. We're spending 321 more than we are taking in. Not good, but not that bad either. And still waiting for our subsidies to come back up. I didn't cover some things last month. So Conscription Act is another 5.7 days away. Then we'll move into Conscription Act 2, which will take about 60 days. Let's see what we got for projects. So I did take 2 more projects last month. I didn't point them out. I did take training manuals 2. And I subsidized agriculture, see if I couldn't get the farms and plantations working again. It doesn't look like it had any effect. So, it is what it is. And once again, we have nothing here that we want to take right now. Once again, the reforms are not going to do me any good without the manpower. Speaking of manpower, let's see what we got available to us. Oh, we're up to 40,000 volunteers now. That's good. That's very good. So our volunteer pool is increasing, and we're sitting steady at 13,000 drafts. So I'll actually be able to start fielding a lot more men soon, if I choose to. So right now I don't feel like I need to. Because the AI is always going to have more men in the field than me. But they have been busy over here. So they did move the 1st Corps of the Army of New England into the valley. I'm just going to let them sit there. It's only 5,000 men. It's not worth chasing them down. And the Army of Kentucky is operating down in Lynchburg. So this looks bad, but this is actually an opportunity for us. If they're moving their forces continually east, my plans for Kentucky can go forward without a hitch. So I've given orders for the Corps of the Missouri to move into Cairo. Once they've completed their movement, I'll be moving the Corps of Western Tennessee over here to Louisville. And once they're done with their movement, I'll be moving the Corps of Eastern Tennessee up to Covington. Because I do have a limited amount of river transport, so I can only move them basically 1 corps at a time without overloading the system and forcing these guys to do a lot of marching. So it'll be faster if I just let these corps take the river 1 at a time. So I'll just be leaving the Western Department under Price with the Corps of the Arkansas in Missouri. Here with the Corps de Rio Grande, they are now back into the yellow. But not very far in. It has taken forever for these guys to come back up, and, you know, rightfully so considering where they are. So, but they are now below 3,000 men. I guess they had a lot of guys desert because they were over 3,000. We had about the same amount of men disabled. There's really nothing I can do about this. Like I said, outside of disbanding this corps completely, there's nothing I can do about it. But they're locking down this corps up here, and that's down to 4,400 men also. So they're losing strength also, unless they transfer the units out. But these units are on a death spiral up here and locking each other in place. So I'm kind of happy to let that sit. Down here in the bay, it's been over half a month, and this is just glitched. These guys are just stuck here. This engagement's not ending. None of these ships are in range of each other, and I can't order withdrawal, which is really pissing me off. But so my 3 ironclads are now out of action, but for effectively the Gulf is clear because they're only blockading Pensacola, Biloxi, and Mobile. So all my other major ports in the Gulf are clear. So it's not that big of an issue. I did have Baron Squadron, Lincoln's Gifts up here, blockading. I think I know what caused the glitch is. The Union sent one of their fleets out to attack the Lincoln's Gifts. So there were 2 naval engagements going on at the same time I was unaware of, and I think that might have glitched out the main one I was fighting. So right now, he's on his way back to refix. A lot of his ships aren't in good shape. Yeah, 33, 31, 33, so I'm sending his fleet back to refit. Because a lot of these ships are in really bad shape. So I'm moving them. What port is this? Port of Elizabeth. Which is probably not a good port to send them to, but I can't keep sending them. Tracking them all the way south to send them back north again. They can't sit and blockade for too long. And there's enough ships in this fleet where it's actually blockading when I have them in position. They're blockading from up here in New London all the way down to Cape May. So all these ports along New York, New Jersey coastline, including Connecticut, and those are all blockaded effectively. Not very well, but they are covered because of the amount of ships. So that's been working effectively for me. Alright, so I'm going to get my troops moving. And I don't think there will be any action in this episode. Once again, it's going to be a boring episode, but hopefully I can get the Army of Tennessee into Kentucky by the end of this episode. So I'll be back. And Kentucky has seceded. I actually hadn't even moved all the Corps in yet. The Corps of Eastern Tennessee just started moving. It's March 20th. But taking Louisville was enough. But Covington's still under federal control, so I am moving that Corps into the area. And I'm about to reattach the Corps to Missouri to the Western Department as the Army of Indiana and 2nd Corps Army of Missouri and 1st Corps Army of Indiana are moving down the river towards St. Louis. So I'm about to order them back up into here. "73 hours from getting those orders because the Army Command is over here now. So I need to get them back under the aegis of another commander. But hopefully we can intercept them before they flip the city. I doubt it though. It's 71 hours to their orders and they gotta go upriver. But that is some good news right there for us. So I didn't really move the power slider too much, but having Kentucky is a big win. Let's see here. And we're slowly pushing the Union back along the fronts. And we just got to get Kansas to flip for us. And I think taking occupation reforms and what is it called? Oh, and we did pop off on Draft Act 1. I totally forgot, so we got to start on number 2. Okay, we got suppressed population and occupation administration. So suppressed population is a little cheaper, so I want to get occupation administration first and see if that doesn't help with support in the territory. And and then I'll take a level of suppressed population and see what that does. Because those two are supposed to help you control territories and states that you control but have not flipped. Yeah, those guys are moving down the river. So these guys were never... I always thought they were coming back into Missouri, but it looks like they're trying to avoid it now. Are they going to St. Louis, or are they going to come down to Cairo? Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Maybe we will have a battle this episode. Are we looking out here? None of these armies have moved. Actually, First Corps Army of Kentucky is now there, and I can't see the Corps of the Army of New England anymore, so I don't know where they went off to. But Bragg is now besieging Fortress Monroe. Shows it in their favor, but they do have a lot more troops in there than we have men attacking, so if it takes several tries to get it, it'll take several tries to get it. So, we'll eventually take it down. It just may take a while. Alright, we'll pause this here, and I'll be back. Alright, looks like we're about to have an engagement down here at Cairo. They totally bypassed St. Louis. I was actually ordering this corps back up in that direction. Still 2 hours from getting their orders, so this will be a rough fight. Yeah, this is not going to be good. So we have 1st Corps Army of Indiana and the 2nd Corps Army of Missouri. Combined total 30,153 men. Called 2,600 cavalry and 48 guns against my 16,630 men, 1,900 cavalry and 21 guns. The one good thing we got going for us is these are 2 separate corps from separate armies, and their army commands are not on the field, so they are not going to act in a cohesive manner. They are led by dicks. So I think this episode is going to be a lot longer than I intended it to be, or actually, you know what? We'll end this episode here because it has been a lot of small tidbits and whatnot. And we'll open up the next episode with this battle. Or actually, what I am going to do... Hold on. What I am going to do is I'm going to do this episode on the same day. So you get 2 episodes on the same day. Probably about an hour or 2 apart from each other. So, pause this here. And I'll cut this in as a separate episode for a same-day release. So, you're a new viewer, returning viewer, if not yet subscribed, please think about hitting that subscribe button. If you do, remember to hit that bell icon so you'll alert when the next video comes out. If you like a brigade in one of my armies, please let me know in the comments below. I now have troops available again, so type of unit, state it's from, weapons, uniforms, officers, and I'll oblige you on all counts if possible. And comments, please keep them coming. You know, I do love talking with you guys on the comments thread. So, see you all at the next episode. Stay grumpy.